Oh, hello there, and welcome back to Monster Monday. Today, I'm going to be talking about an oldie but a goodie. It's the Rakshasa. I grew up playing AD&D, and in the original Monster Manual, there's this cool picture of a tiger person, and I was like, oh, it's a Rakshasa. And then I played D&D for like 6 more years, and when I was like 11 or 12, I realized that I was saying it wrong the whole time. Rakshasa. The Rakshasa is a fiend, and not a unpowerful creature. So you might be thinking, well, Bill, how are you going to scale this down? Don't worry, I have ideas. But let's learn a little bit more about this fiend and why they are awesome and powerful and how you could use them as big bad end guys or even lesser minions of some other greater power. The Rakshasa employs delicacy and misdirection in its pursuit of dominion over others. Few creatures ever see the fiend in its true form, for it can take on any guise it wants, although it prefers to masquerade as someone powerful or influential, a noble, cardinal, or rich merchant, for example. A Rakshasa's true form combines the features of a human and a tiger with one noteworthy deformity. Its palms are where the backs of the hands would be on a human. That's weird, right? But like many monsters in fantasy role-playing games, this is one taken from myth. So there are some cues for how we could use it. But I want you to think about the power of a fiend that can appear however it wants. We often think of monsters like doppelgangers and how you can use them, and I think they're underused, honestly. Like, deceptiveness should be the primary tool of any fiend. And this fiend has the ability to look however it wants, to act however it wants, to become whoever it wants. And that is something you can use to a vast degree in your campaign. So GMs, if you're not doing that kind of thing already, here's an awesome opportunity to introduce this sort of motif into your game. Rakshasas originated long ago in the Nine Hells when powerful devils created a dark ritual to free their essence from their fiendish bodies in order to escape the lower planes. A Rakshasa enters the material plane to feed its appetite for humanoid flesh and evil schemes. It selects its prey with care, taking pains to keep its presence in the world a secret. So the motivation for this monster is food, like the flesh of its prey, and its evil schemes. So that's pretty easy to resolve, right? But it has a picky palate. So it's not going to just go eat any commoner, right? The Rakshasa is not a monster in the sense that it is bestial, right? It's not a tiger who's hunting for human flesh. It is a very selective hunter. So I want you to think about a different genre for a moment. Think about a movie where there's a species that is hunting its prey, but it enjoys the hunt. It's not just about the trophy. It's not just about the kill. It's about the process of the hunt. Are you thinking about the same movie that I'm thinking about? Because you should be thinking about Predator, because that's what I think about when I think of a Rakshasa. A smart, cunning hunter who enjoys a little bit of sport, playing with its prey, if you will. Now, the Rakshasa is even more articulate. It doesn't just turn invisible or camouflage, it can turn into whoever it wants to turn into in its appearance, right? So that is a stupidly powerful and awesome thing that you should use. For a Rakshasa, death on the material plane means an agonizing and torturous return to the Nine Hells, where its essence remains trapped until its body reforms, a process that can take months or years. When the Rakshasa is reborn, it has all the memories and knowledge of its former life, and it seeks retribution against the one who slew it. If the target has somehow slipped through its grasp, the Rakshasa might punish its killer's family, friends, or descendants. Like devils, Rakshasas killed in the Nine Hells are forever destroyed. Think about that last part. Revenge is one of its biggest motivations. So, when we're talking about how to introduce this to your party, that'll be a huge opportunity for you to tie this monster and its whole plot line into your players' character backgrounds. So if you have those eager players who write like character backgrounds that are, a few pages long or even longer, and they're really excited and they share their whole family lineage, this is a huge opportunity for you to tie that in. And if your players aren't those kind of people and they're not really interested in character backgrounds, then it's an open door for you to integrate this into their background and they discover stuff in the game about their character. Stat block. Armor class 16. This medium fiend has an average of 110 hit points, which you can totally ramp up or down as needed, and a movement speed of 40 feet. It is very skilled in charisma, maxed out, with deception, and also insight, because it has a decent wisdom. Damage vulnerabilities to piercing from magic weapons wielded by good creatures. Now that's kind of a cool thing. And a lot of monsters don't have these sort of special damage vulnerabilities. I mean, for a mid or high level party, being stabbed from a piercing magic weapon and, a good party member, that's not too big of a problem. But if a lot of the people in your party are neutral, or you only have one good person, but they use a hammer, then that damage vulnerability isn't going to really be a big penalty to Mr. Rakshasa. Damage immunities to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical weapons. So your standard kind of stuff for a powerful creature. Dark vision, they speak common and infernal. Limited magic immunity. The Rakshasa is immune to spells of 6th level or lower unless it wishes to be affected. It has advantage on saving throws against all other spells and magical effects. That is huge. It basically chops off your spellcasters. Unless they're very powerful, their magic is going to have very little or no effect on the Rakshasa, which makes it a powerful foe. Innate spellcasting. The Rakshasa's innate spellcasting ability is charisma, which is huge. Their DC, their spell save DC is 18. They have a +10 to hit with spell attacks. The Rakshasa can innately cast the following spells requiring no material components: Detect Thoughts, Disguise Self, Mage Hand, Minor Illusion, Charm Person, Detect Magic, Invisibility, Major Image, Suggestion, Dominate Person, Fly, Plane Shift, and True Seeing. So not only that can they magically influence and deceive people, but they can also see through a lot of those things. So a puppet master, a manipulator. And again, it goes back to the idea of this predator who likes to kind of build up through the hunt and enjoy the process of the hunt and manipulate their victims until they're ready for the kill. Speaking of the kill, they have multi-attack with 2 claws, but the target is cursed if it's a creature. The magical curse takes effect whenever the target takes a short or long rest, filling the target's thoughts with horrible images and dreams. The cursed target gains no benefit from finishing a short or long rest. The curse lasts until it's lifted by a remove curse spell or similar magic. How splendid. So, step 1, claw. So now they're cursed. There's no save. I just reread this to make sure. There's no save. So if the Rakshasa hits an opponent with a claw attack, it's cursed. More importantly, the target doesn't know they're cursed until they try to take a short or long rest, at which point they will regain nothing. They get no benefit from a short or long rest. How do you deliver this news, though? You don't just tell them, oh, you're cursed. Don't tell the player that, because that'll just invite metagaming. The way that you describe this is that they took the damage that they took, whatever the hit points are. The player's totally off guard. They don't think anything of it. Not a big deal, because it doesn't do a lot of damage. When they get to the point where they're taking a short or long rest, then you describe what happens to them during their short or long rest. Vivid, horrible dreams, hellish nightmarescapes. If you're not good at improvising that kind of stuff, you could just pre-write like a text block and sort of read it off to them, describe to them what they're doing, or have some notes about it. But I think that the hellish dreams shouldn't just be random. I would almost make it as if they're getting some kind of prophecy, or lead them to believe that they are having some sort of divination experience. Because I think that's an opportunity. These dreams and nightmares are an opportunity for you to kind of foreshadow what is coming for the party in this adventure or in this campaign, right? So the dreams could be meaningful, still symbolic and a little bit dreamlike and surreal, but they could be meaningful, right? So it's an opportunity for you to kind of leak some actual things. If your players metagame and they know what the Rakshasa is and they know what it can do, and they have somebody who can cast a remove curse spell, they will do that after the first set of nightmares. But maybe they don't know that. So keep playing it out. Keep playing it out. Don't tell them that they're cursed until they figure it out. But if they do metagame, the question is this: do you change how this works? Do you make it something different so that the remove curse is not what works? Maybe you change it to a biological disease. So they think that they're cursed because they're metagaming and they're like, oh, well, the Rakshasa curses you, so just cast remove curse. And then tell them that it doesn't do anything. And then let them figure out that this manifestation is a disease and they have to remove disease. Or make it so that it's only removable by a greater restoration spell or a wish. That way the remove curse doesn't work because this is a powerful Rakshasa. You have a master manipulator / hunter. You have to think about why. Why is the Rakshasa doing what they're doing? What do they want? What are their motivations? Who are their enemies? Why do they want revenge? If it's revenge-based, who do they want revenge on and why? And ultimately, what is their final goal? The Rakshasa doesn't have to be an enemy who's after the party. That was one option that I gave you. You could tie their backstories into the Rakshasa, and now the party or some member or members of the party becomes the target. But the Rakshasa could also be targeting an ally, or maybe the lord or king of whatever community your party is tied to. And as heroic adventurers, the party has to stop this mysterious plague. So the Rakshasa could be using lesser minions at first. So you don't have to have the Rakshasa be like, boom, throw them at the party, right? So I'm going to tell you a funny little thing that happened with me as a player, not the GM. My group of buddies were playing through some very old classic AD&D modules, specifically the Giant series, Against the Giants. And we had infiltrated the Fire Giant Lord's Hall, and we encountered a Rakshasa. And that Rakshasa, we were pretty high level at this point. I want to say we were like 12th level. The Rakshasa kicked our asses. Like it wasn't even funny. Just toyed with us. When you think about that scenario, I'm like, a Rakshasa who's manipulating giants is very powerful. But you don't have to go that power level. I mean, a Rakshasa by itself is already pretty powerful. You could have the Rakshasa have like lesser minions, like a group of humans or elves or whatever that it manipulates, or even, dumber monsters. Or maybe there's a cabal of spellcasters, magic users who, are unwittingly serving the Rakshasa because the Rakshasa can appear as one of them. Or maybe a cult with like priests who are serving the Rakshasa, and the Rakshasa is manipulating that group. Or again, it doesn't have to be magic based. It could be a group of nobles or just one noble house that the Rakshasa has infiltrated and is manipulating for political gain and securing its power base. So there's so many cool ways that you could have the Rakshasa as this puppet master behind the scenes manipulating things going on in the region where your campaign takes place. And it could be multiple locations. Maybe the Rakshasa frequently moves between different cities, and when he gets to different cities, he transforms into a noble from that city's noble house and goes and does a bunch of machinations there and has his minions, starts them on some new projects or new plots that he's manipulating. So a lot of opportunity to make the Rakshasa into this ongoing big bad end guy with minions, so that by using the minions at first, you're scaling it. So you could have a low-level party who's dealing with opponents that are minions of the Rakshasa. And then as they level up, you have kind of more powerful factions who, again, are being manipulated by the Rakshasa. If you like the idea of using a powerful person who can take any appearance and will manipulate things, this is the perfect classic D&D monster that you can use, and you can scale, and you can modify. You could even have lesser Rakshasas. You know, if you wanted to actually have the party at mid-level encounter who they think is the big bad end guy, you could have a lesser Rakshasa who serves the main Rakshasa with like lower hit points and, you know, maybe not quite the power of magic immunity because maybe it's a younger Rakshasa. Just like with dragons, you know how we have like baby dragons and adolescent dragons and adult dragons and ancient dragons. You could have the same kind of scaling with your Rakshasas. So you can make like a lesser Rakshasa who is a little more vulnerable to magic and could be defeated, and the party could finally defeat this lesser Rakshasa thinking that this has been the guy behind the scenes the whole time. And then later on in the campaign, like after another adventure, you plant a few more seeds that the Rakshasa is not the one that they thought it was, that there's another one that's even more powerful and more influential. And then maybe the party gets to a higher level, and now the big bad end Rakshasa is aware of them and is maybe annoyed by them and decides to make them the target of his machinations. Again, an awesome creature with so much versatility for integrating into adventures and campaigns, and I hope that you will take a chance and use the Rakshasa in your games. If you found this helpful, please make sure that you've subscribed, and click on that notifications button and select all so that you don't miss any of the videos that we put out on the channel. I want to thank my patrons on Patreon, and if you would like to support the channel, you can join Patreon as well at whatever funding level you are comfortable with. Until we see each other again, game on.
Well, hello, and welcome to Bill Allen World. I am Wizzy, the Wizard. I'm back once again to remind you to subscribe and click on the notifications button, and also watch videos that are over there. Tune in to the next episode of whatever show you are just watching, and watch other shows featuring Bill. He made me say that because he's a narcissist. Okay, bye.